The Nigerian Youth Congress has condemned the hike in airfares by airline operators. The group says the increase makes air travel impossible for most Nigerian youths who are either unemployed or underemployed. The Congress called on the operators to rescind their decision and revert to more affordable airfares.
The Nigerian Youth Congress, in collaboration with the civil society groups in Nigeria, at a national emergency meeting of nationwide stakeholders and other youth coalition groups held in Abuja, rose in animus anger to condemn the arbitrary, wicked, insensitive, and unjustifiable hike in airfare across the country to over 130% by the airline operators. We are all aware that the youth of this great nation are about 80% that purchase the cheapest economy class ticket of all flights. Therefore, these incentives of the flight operator to make the cheapest economy ticket at a base fee of 50,000 naira is very inconsiderate. We therefore condemn in totality the actions of the airline operator as extreme selfishness and in pursuit of over-ambitious profit margin.
That there are various classes of economy tickets. Why not those least classes should not be tampered with? And they can go as well as doing even 500% increase in business class. Yes.
Well, for more on this, aviation expert Alex Nwuba joins us now from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. It makes economic and common sense that airlines recoup the cost of operating flights. But tell us, how serious is this allegation of price fixing, and has there been any precedent here in Nigeria?
Well, good evening, and thank you for having me at your studio this evening. It's very valid, the concerns of the youth as to the cost of airfares. But this is not a business that is independent of the economy. The challenge we all face as Nigerians is that inflation has been at an all-time high. The naira has significantly depreciated, and the airline business is generally a dollar-based business. So all of these combination of facts results in the fact that even though you may see a 50,000 naira base fare, airlines are actually losing money. They're actually subsidizing the cost of travel for their passengers because they have to enable their customers to use their services.
So what you're saying is you agree with airline operators when they say that this price hike has been long overdue. I mean, because you know, Forex is the basic currency in running the airlines. What exactly are the factors really? Help us understand it.
Okay, the biggest single cost factor is aviation fuel, which has gone up over 200%. So it's gone from about 280 naira to 430 naira. So if 40% of your operating cost has gone up threefold, then it means that you are already at about 80 or 90% on fuel alone. Every couple of years, the airplanes have to go to maintenance abroad, and that's a huge cost to the airlines. You also have the cost of the staff that earn usually dollar incomes. You have overflight fees that are dollar-based. You have a number of insurance, which is dollar-based. So you have all of the major cost factors that used to run an airline being dollar-based. And so when the dollar moves up and banks are not able to provide the airline industry with available dollars and they have to source in the open market, it means that they're actually losing money providing the service. So while nobody wants to increase fares and make it difficult, look, only 5% of Nigerians already travel by air. And so when fares go up, it means that maybe 2% of Nigerians are going by air. That affects the demand for the service to the airline industry. And so that's the effect we're seeing now, that prices are going up, less people are traveling, everybody's suffering.
So everybody suffers this, the passengers and, of course, the operators. But you have the regulators saying this is illegal and they must revert to previous prices. What is the solution here? As you've said, everyone is suffering at the moment. What should be the way forward? What's the solution here?
Well, look, it's plain and simple economics. wages have been stagnant for a number of years. Base wage has gone up to about 30,000 naira. So if you look at the base wage of 30,000 naira and a round-trip airline ticket at 100,000 naira, it means that the travel demographics is shifting. And so that's not a function of what the airlines can do. If the economy improved and people's wages went up and inflation was much more at a much lower level, dollar exchange was available, prices will reflect that information, but they don't. Fuel prices are going up, and so all of the cost of the airline service. Nobody wants an industry where there are no airlines flying because they can meet their costs. It's also a safety issue when you tell airlines to fly at below cost. So the challenge for us is how we can turn this economy around so that people's standard of living is raised to the point where they can begin to enjoy the benefits of air travel. The reality of the airline industry now is that aviation is now becoming a bit more elitist. Only a smaller sector of the economy can travel by air. This is a challenge for businesses. As you know, so many airlines have sprung up in the last 1 to 2 years, quite a significant number of airlines. Airlines have refleeted, invested billions of dollars to buy more modern equipment. A lot of these costs go into the cost of operation, and that gets passed on to the price. And that's what we're seeing now as the reality in the marketplace.
Well, for Nigeria, flying is not necessarily an elitist pastime. I mean, people like me would rather travel by road, but unfortunately the roads are a no-go area. So, well, the regulators, say they're going to investigate. What exactly will they be looking for? Because the operators are saying there's no cartel. We have only just come up with these figures. How realistic and what really is likely to happen to the airlines if they have to revert to the old, airfares?
Well, what's happened is that the FCCPC and the Aviation Regulatory Agency have decided to investigate if there was collusion in the establishment of fares, which is contrary to the way fair and neutral markets function. The reality is that, as some of the airlines have reported, this is not a new fare. If you try to book an airline ticket, you'll be offered a number of fares based on the number of days of travel. What the airlines have essentially done is remove some of the lower cost fares that were always there and kept and reflected the higher fares that were also always there so that they are able to better meet their costs. The fact is that everybody senses that there's been some collusion because the fare seems to be across the board the same for most or almost all airlines, except for a low-cost carrier called Green Africa that has kept its fares pretty low. But if you look at the comparative fare of that airline, which is the third tier of fare, it is at the same level as all the other carriers in the industry, simply reflecting the fact that costs have gone up significantly and those costs have to be recovered somehow. The fact also remains that even though the cost is being recovered, the airlines are not still able to recover all the costs that go into the cost of their operations. And that's the challenge we have as an industry.
Well, thank you so much for your thoughts on this issue. Aviation expert there, Alex Nwuba, speaking to us on Newsnight. We do appreciate your time.